Alright, so this is my audience. Got these 5 wonderful people here. Alright, so today I'm giving my public speech course, and we have to do an informative speech. And so we're going to start out today, and there's probably been a lot of people that I've heard that you can get water cramps, or if you drink too much water, some people say they're allergic to it. But there's also some people who die from it. And today I wanted to present to you guys about hyponatremia. And there's a lot of people who don't really know what hyponatremia is. You probably know what it is because you're a nurse, and so you probably have a good understanding of it. But today we're going to talk about what it is, the effects of hyponatremia, and we're also going to go to what are the causes and effects after it's already caused. And kind of my main thing is to us, because I know there's a lot of athletes in here, and we used to play sports, and me and Trevor used to play football together, so it's kind of something we can learn from and adapt from it. And because as athletes, we need to be ready to play and perform, but not be ready to die. And so let's get started. Hyponatremia, it's a confusing word. When I first heard it, I had no idea what it meant. I was really confused, but there's kind of a slang to it. It's called hypohydrate. And so basically what it is when an athlete starts getting the symptoms of cramps and stuff, they think they're hurting, and so they'll go and hydrate themselves, because we commonly know when we have a cramp, when you drink pickle juice, you drink a lot of water, we drink a lot of Powerade. But this can also be a really negative effect to us. As the New York Times says, when we hyperhydrate, our blood will dilute and our salt and water balances will offset each other, and then our blood will kind of just stream through us, and then there's so much blood running around, it's not really thick and consolidates, and then it'll cause us to have brain tumors and stuff like that, and eventually cause to death. And so there's another website, it actually stated that there was 2 high school football players this year that have had these problems. They went out to the practice field, they started practicing along with their team, and they started having symptoms of the cramps and everything. And their coaches thought it'd be a good idea just to give them a bunch of water, give them a bunch of Powerade, give the trainer, get some pickle juice into them. But they ended up drinking 2 gallons worth of water in a period of 30 minutes, and then went over practice and drank another 4 gallons of Powerade, water, mixtures with a bunch of stuff. And the 2 kids passed out. They had to rush them to the ER, but at that time it was too late. Their blood had already been diluted so much that it just streamed through them and ended up killing them. And so it's pretty sad, and it's something we really need to be aware about. We need to be aware about the effects of hyponatremia. Most of the time when we overhydrate, we sweat to kind of, our body kind of sweats to react to the amount of water we intake during sports. And we also urinate. But when our urination and our sweating is enough to get this out of our body, that's kind of what happens. The water is being held into us, it's running through us, and it ends up killing us in the end. And so we really need to be aware. We need to work with coaches and staff members, and mostly athletic trainers. So we know that athletic trainers are the ones that kind of babysit us, they're the ones who kind of take care of us during practice. But my kind of idea to this whole thing is we need to have kind of like segregated water. We need to have people at the table that need to be watching it. So when athletes come up, they kind of know, like, hey, they drink this much out of the cup, so we can solve the problem. And so this would be a good idea for high schools, maybe even colleges, to look into, because when they first discovered this problem, it was for track marathon runners. They would run long distances, and along the course, there's a lot of booze stood up, and they kind of just drink the water, and sometimes it's a cup, sometimes it's a whole bottle, sometimes it's a lot of water they're ingesting during their run. And this has also caused this hypohydrate to happen to these marathon runners. And in the end, when they get to the end of the race, they've had really serious issues to them, and they've had to stop running their marathons. And so this is also converted into the sports world with basketball and football. And so we need to be really aware of it. We need to tell our coaches, and we need to tell our athletic trainers to kind of regulate the amount of water intake. Because there's a lot of old school people out there like, oh, when your mouth starts getting dry, you know, that's you're dehydrated. But we really need to figure out what's right for our bodies. We need to figure out what's right for us to kind of level our salt to water intake so that none of these effects happen to us. And so that's kind of my spiel today. I hope you guys learned something. Hyponatremia, it could increase a huge problem in America in sports. And so we really need to take action, really focus on it, and make sure we're prepared. We educate our kids, our athletes. You know, this youngster will have kids someday, and he'll have a little son playing volleyball or a little daughter playing volleyball, and he's going to want to make sure they succeed at their sport. And so he needs to make sure his daughter or son, and your kids who these two might play sports, who knows, but they need to make sure that their water intakes are at the right level, make sure they know what's right for their bodies, just so we never have this problem of hyperhydrating and risking our lives.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
They all stayed. They're all here.